Hello everyone, I'm Greg Donovan. I'm an accountant. I have a bachelor's and master's in accounting with a focus in taxation. I've been self-employed since 1997, and I just wanted to go through a few things. My firm, we kind of do things a little different. We specialize in small business, and so therefore we're able to step up further. The way I like to think of myself is like a CFO of your company, chief financial advisor, if you don't have one. If you do have one, then I want to think of myself more like CFO assistant then. I wanted to bring up something that I put together for a client. Now, this has all been changed. This doesn't reflect what my client actually, his business looks like, but I even numbers out to make it easier to understand. We do all the traditional stuff, payroll, bookkeeping, tax, and but we always come up with, hey, I think it would be better if you did it this way, that way, and it's not a client saying, hey, what if we do this, what if we do that? And it's always us looking at it and saying, hey, I think this might be a good idea. And then we bring it to the client and let them make the decision. Now, my one client in particular, which we find very common for North Dallas area, Frisco, most of our clients here are, they own multiple businesses. It's not just one. One in particular, this is not far off, believe it or not. It's not exaggerated. But this example shows 10 different companies. So these little circles here are companies. The 10 signifies the amount of employees that they have in each one. And like I said, this isn't far off. So don't say this, trust me, it's not far off. So you've got one company, 10. So you got a total of 100 employees. And every one of these companies has their own federal employer identification number. And why is that significant? Well, when you do payroll through this company here, everything has to be filed under that FEIN number. That's the acronym. Has to be filed. And you got to process payroll and everything under this number. Under that FEIN number. Now, this company, same thing. This company, everything, same. So that means that this client has 10 different FEIN numbers. And he has to process payroll 10 times every pay period. Okay? So you go 2 weeks, you have pay. Instead of being like some companies, they just do payroll once. That's it. They have to do it 10 times. Okay? And the quarterly reports, the annual reports, W-2s, all that. And then in certain cases, and this is another situation, where he could have one employee part-time at this location and then part-time at this location. So why is that significant? Well, it's significant because you're paying unemployment taxes, federal and state. Okay? So you're paying that, not the employee. You're paying it. So that means that this employee that works part-time at each one, you won't max out on this unemployment, the federal unemployment, until he hits 14,000, and you won't max out on it until it hits 18,000. Now, that's just an easy way to look at it. It obviously is a little more complicated than that. That means that he could make 10,000 here and then 5,000 at another one. So he may max out faster at one location versus the other. Okay, it's just a way to keep things simple. So you get it. And when you do your medical and dental, if you're offering your employees medical and dental, and that this employer does, that our client does, he has to get quotes for 10 different companies. Okay? So our solution to that we came up with was PEO. Let's form a Texas PEO. PEO stands for Professional Employer Organization. Okay, you form that. What does that do? Okay, this is a broad stroke. Basically, let's say this company here, 10 employees, you form a co-employer relationship. Basically, you sign an agreement. Move them into the PEO. The PEO leases them back to you. So, and you still have all the powers of an employer. Okay, you could still hire, fire, discipline, whatever. Okay, that doesn't change. So, and you do that 10 times. Okay, then all your employees are moved into the PEO, which you have 100 employees in the PEO and nothing but leased employees for all 10 locations. What does that do? Okay, when you have leased employees, that means these payroll reports, gone. All of this, gone. So you don't have to process payroll 10 times. You don't have to fill out a 941 quarterly report 10 times, okay? You don't have to do W-2s for this one and then this one, and then have this employee works here and here, so he's getting 2 W-2s from 2 different businesses, which you own. I think you get the point. But when you move them into the PEO, everything's done once. So when you do, for example, if you get a W-2, it will show the PEO as the employer. Okay? That's how that will show up. That means when you go, you process payroll, 941 report, quarterly, annual, W-2s, everything, one time. No more 10. No more 10 different reports to have to file anymore. That lowers your admin costs, definitely. And everything gets done once. Like, it's basically like all of these is just one company, but it's not, okay? You still have your liability, you know, if you're trying to keep your liability separate, okay? Because a lot of employers do that. They keep things separate. They don't want people to have access to everything they own, okay? That's why a lot of them do it this way. And when you move it into the PEO, you're basically setting the PEO up. You have 100 employees. You save on admin. When you go to get a quote on medical and dental insurance, you're going to get a quote for 100 employees. Instead of cutting 10 checks to pay your medical and dental insurance, you're cutting 1 through the PEO. And as far as how you would do this in the bookkeeping, I can show you that. That's very easy to do, okay? It's not that complicated. If you have an accountant, then he can already reason his way. He already, as soon as he hears this video, he would know how to handle it. It's not complicated because you're leasing the employees at that point. So that's what a PEO would do for you. Brings everything under one umbrella. That way you get a quote for your medical and dental, and I won't go through all of that, but it saves you a lot of money. The PEO also will have value. So when you list on your personal financials that you own this PEO, you're going to be able to list it. Now, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but it used to be 3 times gross profit. So if you have gross profit of $100,000, your PEO should be worth, if you sold it, for $300,000. Okay? But anyway, that's what I was trying to say. And as far as how you form it, you can form it as a corporation, S-corp. It might be easier for you for a partnership, or you can do a single member LLC, which I wouldn't do, but you could, okay? And that's how you would want to do this. So I kind of hope, hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying here. This is a good way to do something, and I think this solves the client's issue, okay? Knocks a lot of this out. Now, this isn't stuff that he come up to us and said, you know, can y'all help me? No. We saw this as an issue, and this is what we came up with them. Which this is perfect. I can't tell you, this is a perfect solution for them. Also, the other benefit of owning your own PEO is that you would be able to use your connections. Because most of these guys are very connected. Once you get this kind of successful businesses with employees and everything, you're connected to other companies and you can bring them in and you can sell stock to them and bring them in, and then their companies come into the PEO, that kind of thing. And you build it up, and you build up the worth of what this PEO will be worth, and obviously it makes you, at least on paper anyway, look more profitable. Now, 3 times I know, because I've sold a PEO. PEOs, you can sell them, okay? They're not just on paper and, 300,000 and no way you'll get that. That's not true. PEOs, you can definitely buy a PEO. Okay, well, that is my solution for just one of my clients. And we don't think of the traditional tax prep, payroll, bookkeeping. We go beyond that and think of like we're your CFO of your company. And that's what we do. We've had other solutions for other clients, but this one was the one we just did for a client. And this is how we go the extra mile. And we actually know, since I'm a CEO of a PEO several, way back, 10, 15 years ago, the licensing is pretty much the same. They may have a few changes, but we'll be able to get our client licensed and get their audited financials and everything, and we're not gonna have to worry about it. The licensing, I don't think is going to be any issue, and the client's going to be way easier. This is going to make things simplified to a level that they probably didn't think was possible. But like I said, this is just one of many. We've brought up attention of mergers and acquisitions, things in that area. We've brought up co-op stuff. There's a multitude of things you can do. And if you acquire a company, there's always a way to do it. If you're going to merge, you don't always got to have an abundance of cash to do it. A lot of these, some of them will trade out stock. Okay? They'll just trade out their stock. And one is worth more than the other, so that means that they'll have to compensate with more stock. Or compensate another way. It just comes down to negotiation. But if you want something to happen, there's usually a good way to do it. And you just got to figure out what one person will accept versus the other, and you'll be good. And that's where I think my goal isn't just to save you money. My goal is trying to come up with ways where you can increase your sales. This doesn't particularly increase this client's sales at this level. But if he takes the PEO to a step further, hire a salesman, have them go out and sell the PEO, then I've increased his sales. But I definitely, at minimum, increased his net worth. At minimum. And I've simplified a lot, saved him more money, and he's going to be able to this will help him in his tax planning. It's just unbelievable the amount of stuff this format can do. And there's a lot of things you can do when you acquire companies, that kind of thing, mergers, or co-ops, so you can buy your supplies in bigger bulk. We've come up with ideas there. I'm trying to keep this video short, but what we come up before, we have these suppliers, but they don't really want to merge. They really don't want to acquire each other. They don't have the cash flow to do it, and they're not interested in trying to negotiate further than that. They don't really want to do anything more. They just don't want to acquire nothing. I guess that's the best way to say it. So I looked at a situation. We got to thinking about it, and we decided, okay, how about we form a corporation and basically be us wholesale. And we bring people in, okay? Now you can either let everybody have stocks in this corporation that participate, so all the suppliers come in, they get stock in the corporation, you get stock in the corporation, and what y'all do is you try to figure out, okay, how can I need to increase my supply so I can get that magic price number that will make things cheaper for me. I'm just not at the level, I can't afford to do it on my own. So you bring these people together under this one umbrella, the corporation, okay? They all fund. Let's say that you're trying to buy this big, massive inventory of the widgets that you want to own. So if you buy, let's say, we're going to keep the numbers simple, okay? 100, that's your normal, what you used to buy is 100 because you can't afford to buy more. But now since you brought everybody together, you can buy 500 or 1,000, and what that does is it gives you more buying power. And it puts you on these guys that's got limited supply, these wholesalers, and they can pick and choose. Of course, they're going to go to the person they can sell the most to at a pretty decent price for them. So you bring everybody together under one umbrella. They put cash in. The company that you just formed pays the supplier. You get the supplies, and then they divvy up the supplies. Now, how does the company make money? See, that's the part that we really love. When our clients, all these suppliers, I guess at this time you call them shareholders, these retailers, that's what I'll call them. Retailers come in and they put money into the corporation, cash, not credit card. They're transferring cash into the corporation, the company you just formed. Then the company turns around and pays the wholesaler with a credit card. Now the credit card, what it does is you get a discount rate. So you'll get about 2%, 1.5%, 2%. You just have to negotiate that on all of these through the credit card, which costs the retailers nothing. And the corporation that they own is collecting that 1.5%. They're able to buy their materials, their inventory at a much bigger bulk, better price, so there's no telling how much they're going to save there. And then their company's making on top of that another 1.5%, 2% on the purchase. And you're saying, well, why can't they just pay their stuff on credit card and get the 1.5%? They're still going to lose because they can't buy the bulk at that level. Instead of buying 100 like they've always done, now they can buy 500 or 1,000. So they save money on the supply. That's the main goal. The 1.5% is what helps you pay the admin on it. And the shareholders make a little money off of it, because your admin is not going to be 1.5% of the supplies that you purchase on the card. It's just not going to. Unlikely. So your company's going to make money. You're going to be more. You're going to be worth more, and everybody should be at a much higher buying power. And number one, you get to know each other. Okay, you trust each other. You may even form an actual partnership, or you say, you know what? I don't want to be the boss anymore. I can't take it. I'd rather just sell this to you and manage this location. If they have that good of a relationship, they would. Normally, you wouldn't want to do that. Normally, you want your vision pushed. You don't really want, if you're buying a company, you don't want the vision of the one you're buying. You want to impose your own. So, in a nutshell, that was another one that we came up with. And he decided for him right now that they would just try to form these other partnerships with people. I know that they do this, but they're paying broker fees and stuff, and they're going to wind up paying more money to collaborate, and they don't need to. So that's where I was thinking. If you are suppliers, you're ordering pretty much similar widgets, the same widgets basically, and you're using that for to retail, why not form it? And you don't have to buy everything through the corporation. You can pick and choose what you buy in there, and then you fund it, and y'all fund it together, and that's how you do it. I think that was a terrific idea. My client, it motivated him. He actually said, hey, wait a minute, that's a good idea. And he contacted a few people, and then one of them had interest, and he signed with them in like a co-op situation. Basically, that's what I was coming to. And there you go. I mean, I don't know if this is going to work out well for him. We'll just have to wait and see, because he just did this like a couple of weeks ago, so we don't know. The numbers aren't in, so we don't know enough. But that was another idea. So that's what we do. We do everything. We do the compliance, the preparation, payroll, bookkeeping, but we also come to the boardroom. And if you don't have a boardroom, just imagine yourself having a boardroom, and imagine us stepping in there and we're all going over the numbers. And how can we do this? How can we do that? And that's kind of how we look at it. And that's how I think accounting firms in the traditional sense have failed to recognize there's a whole other side to this that they're not even looking at. And it's good reason. I'll be honest, I mean, I've been in self-employed a long time, and if you don't specialize, you're just doing everything that comes in, you don't have time. You seriously don't have time. It's just, you're having one client come in with this issue and that issue, and you can have one that's very complicated, and they're all different. You can have somebody that have rental properties, or W-2s, a bunch of K-1s, things like that, and if you're not specialized, you really don't have time to think about this stuff here. That's why I said, you know what, my firm's going to be specialized, because we can't. I can't keep going the way we are. I didn't like it. I prefer small business, and I've always preferred small business. And I really like mergers and acquisitions. I think that is so interesting, and it's awesome to see these guys go from this to this really quick. And it's really fantastic. And I'm so happy for them, because when it works out really well, they're just like, they're on cloud nine, So, and knowing that we were a big part of that is extremely rewarding, especially to me, extremely rewarding. And this client here, I don't know if he's going to do this. He hasn't said yet, but I'm sure he's checking on it, because it is kind of it can be very complex to people that never ran a PEO. To me, this is very simple. It's not that big a deal, okay? But to somebody that's never been exposed to it, obviously it's going to be, like, whoa, I need to check into this. And I don't have a problem with that. I want you to check into it. Ask me questions. See if I make sure that I thought about everything. That's what a CFO in a boardroom, that's what you should be doing. Hitting up everybody, getting their opinions, then hit me back saying, hey, why, what about this with the PEO? Does this make sense because of this? It may not. That may have been an extremely good point, and I'd be like, oh, okay. No, that's something, yeah. We need to, PEO's not going to work. It's not going to work for that. Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. if you see yourself as a CEO, CFO, and you're one of the team, or assistant CFO, and you're one of their team, and you're throwing these ideas out, at least you're doing something, okay? As far as marketing stuff go, I'm not a marketer. That's an area that my clients that are retail, they are, in my opinion, they're really good at it. I'm not. That's an area that, stay in my lane, this is my lane. Yeah, don't get mixed up into that. Now, I do have websites and things like that that I give clients that other clients have used, and they actually use, and it's effective in giving them really good information. Now, I don't share, if I have two clients in the same retail space, in the same market, I won't do it. I don't generally share anything that works, because that's not fair at all. What I'm talking about is somebody that sells cologne versus someone that sells, I don't know, I'll just make something up, lawnmowers. Okay? And they're finding good luck with this website that keeps up with how many clicks they get and the information they're getting off of it. It's making their stuff more effective. Okay? Then I would share that to the lawnmower retailer. Okay? So they have to be separate before I would absolutely share a client's what's working for them versus another. So, anyway, if you guys have any questions, let me know. My website is dnataxes.com, and I'll just say it again, dnataxes, taxes.com. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I do post on occasion, books to read, that kind of thing. There are a couple of books out there that I find very interesting that I stick out there for you guys, and I don't recommend any book unless I've read it myself, okay? So if I recommend one, or if I think, I actually had a history book and mergers and acquisition book, and I put those together because one of them, the history of networking, and it's more interesting than you think. Neil Ferguson writes the Square and the Tower. It's actually a pretty good book. Really shows the importance of networking, and it will give you ideas on maybe you need to push more into a certain area. And the other, mergers and acquisitions, I like that book because it gives you a good idea of what you're in for. And that book is for public companies that are public. Okay, it's written for like really large companies. Okay, you're at the smaller end, million, couple million. A fourth of that book's the only thing you really need to know. But it gives you a good idea of what you're in for, and it's good to have that. It's just good information. So anyway, I hope y'all like my presentation. Hopefully this gets the point across that if your accountant isn't going this far trying to help you figure stuff out, then I don't know what to tell you. They really need to be, because the traditional accounting firm is, well, to me anyway, they're extremely boring. And I can't take it. I like this because I can be creative and I can use my knowledge, my education to bring about some really cool things to put together where you save money and you increase your revenue and make things simpler. That's another thing, just make it simpler for you. So anyway, I'm Greg Donovan, and you guys, I appreciate you watching the whole video if you did, and I will see you later. I will be putting together little, I'll call them bookkeeping shorts. What it is just a real quick, like if you had a transaction, that kind of thing. But anyway, you guys take care. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you're an accountant and you see this and you have a client that this might work, research it for yourself and see if it will. And because if they pull the trigger on this and they actually see, I know this client in particular, he's gonna be floored, okay, the difference. He's gonna absolutely be floored. And that's gonna be huge. You're gonna be huge to that client. And there's no other way to say it. So anyway, hopefully I helped you guys out, and enjoy the rest of your day.